Good morning, students. Welcome to the digital classes of Lal Bagh Girls Intermediate College. This is Ma'am Spring, and this class of mine is for class 12 history students. Students, we have already done the Lahore session in our previous lecture. In this lecture, I am going to start with the civil disobedience movement which was there in India during 1930 to 1934. You know this thing that we are doing Gandhian era. So in this movement also you will see the role of Gandhiji. As we all know, the conditions in the country had become very favorable to launch a widespread movement against the British after the session of Lahore, in which the Congress leaders have declared 26th January as the Independence Day every year. And what they had thought of, that they thought that they will be asking for Purna Swaraj. Now, Gandhiji still wanted to give a chance to the government before embarking on such a big movement. So what he did? He wrote a letter to the Governor General Lord Irwin on March 2nd, 1930, in which he has given the details of 11 demands which he put forward before Britishers. In these demands, the importance are as: number 1, he wanted the reduction in the land revenue. He wanted abolition of the salt tax. He demanded government monopoly over salt. He wanted reduction in the military expenditure, protection to Indian cotton textile industry, and the release of few political prisoners, etc. Gandhiji informed the Governor General that in case these demands were not met, he would launch a civil disobedience movement by violating the salt law on March 12, 1930. You should also know that why the salt was taken as the symbol of protest. The reason behind is that the common folk hated the salt law. Salt was an inseparable part of food for every household, but people were prohibited from making salt even for domestic use during the British rule. It was because of this law that Indians were compelled to buy salt from shops at a very high place. Salt law was one of the most widely disliked laws in British India. The state monopoly over salt had deprived the people of a valuable, easy village industries. The making of the salt was not allowed by them. The state monopoly over salt had deprived the people from everything. Thus, Gandhiji, by making the salt law his target, wanted every people of the country to participate in the mass movement or the national movement. As it was expected by the Britishers, the Viceroy promptly responded to the letter sent by Gandhiji, but his reply was highly disappointing. Therefore, he decided to launch the civil disobedience movement. The movement was started with the famous Dandi March. We all know what was Dandi March, but still I am going to tell it to you in detail that what was Dandi March. On March 12, 1930, Gandhiji, along with 78 of his followers, began his foot march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi a village on seashore in Surat district, about 375 kilometers away from Sabarmati ashram. After walking on foot for 24 days, Gandhiji arrived at Dandi on April 5th, 1930. On the morning of April 6th, Gandhiji, after saying his prayers, violated the salt law, picking salt from the sea coast without paying any tax. And he also declared this rule of making salt law as a curse. So this program of civil disobedience movement was to violate the salt law by manufacturing salt at various places in the country. And soon this movement spread like wildfire throughout the country. People started defying government laws. The movement, like a forceful wave, enveloped all places like Bombay, Bengal, United Provinces, Central Province, Madras, Northwest Frontier Province, Manipur and Nagaland in northeastern India. Forest laws were defied in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Central Provinces, and in the eastern India, the rural people refused to pay Chaukidari tax. Gandhiji called upon the women folk of the country to extend their cooperation to this movement, and in Delhi, some 1600 women picketed the liquor shops. The boycotting of foreign cloth proved to be very successful. In Bombay, 16 textile mills of English merchants had to close down during that period. Large number of farmers were drawn into the movement, and the movement was not limited only to the interior parts of the country. It was also outside the country, as the Pathans of the northwest frontier province under Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, who was popularly known as the Frontier Gandhi, made a remarkable contribution to the movement with the organization known as Khudai Khidmat Gar. In Peshawar, Garhwali soldiers under Chandra Singh Garhwali refused to open fire on non-violent agitators. As we all know that Gandhiji was against violence. So he did not allow violence anywhere in the country. But this movement was like wildfire in the people of country. So the people of India refused to open fire on the non-violent agitators. In Nagaland also, this banner was raised by old Rani Gadliu against the British rule. The government also adopted ruthless measures to crush the movement. On April 14, 1930, Jawaharlal Nehru and other important leaders were arrested. Even Gandhiji was arrested on May 5th, 1930 and near Dandi, and was sent to Yerwada jail. The arrest of Gandhiji boosted the morale of the agitator, and as a result of which government's repression became more ruthless. Over 90,000 satyagrahis were imprisoned during that time. The Congress was declared as the illegal, and the press was also put under a strict censorship. Just to see that what was the significance of this salt march in history, we'll see that this march of Gandhiji made a center of attraction for the whole world. The European press, the American press published detailed accounts of salt march conducted by Gandhiji. Undoubtedly, it was the first national movement in which women had participated in large number. As a result of SALT movement, the colonial rulers understood it clearly that their authority was not going to remain permanent in India, and now they will have to give some participation to the Indians in Paras. Just to show that, they had called the Indian leaders in the first round table conference held in London in November 12, 1930. That we are going to discuss in our next lecture. So this is all about today, and we'll be doing this first round table conference in our next lecture. Till then, stay safe, stay home, and thanks for watching this video.